Hey guys, CryptoDad here again. Thanks for joining me on the Saturday night live stream. Live from Michigan, where you can throw out questions and I'll do my best to get them answered. We'll talk about Bitcoin, we'll talk about the news, we'll talk about altcoins. I'm going to move some crypto around for you guys. And as always, I'll do my very best to get to your questions and see if we can't troubleshoot your problems here live. Well, welcome everybody. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays. I don't have to say Happy New Year yet because we're going to do one more live stream before then. So I'll save the Happy New Year till next week. But hello, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. The market has come up just a little bit from the 85,000 mark up to around, I'm not sure what it's at right now. We'll take a look at it. I think it's probably still hovering around 88,000. Just refuses to dive down to bear market territory. I think it's just a local pullback, but only time will tell. I'm going to dive into the crypto news a little bit. We'll check Cointelegraph and see what's on the top of their headline list. And then I just want to relax and take it easy with you guys tonight and do some demos, talk about some stuff and the holidays, and just take your Q&As as best as I can. I didn't really prepare any news stories like I did that I usually do and have them linked down below. I'm working on kind of a template that'll make it easier for me to do my descriptions. So I'm working on that, but I didn't put any specific stories up yet. So we're just going to wing it tonight. It's the holidays. I hope you guys are enjoying yourself. I hope you're hanging out with your family and friends. We're heading to Frankenmuth tomorrow for 2 days. For those of you who don't know where Frankenmuth is, it's in Michigan and a little bit west of Detroit. And let's look it up and I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's kind of a Christmas fantasy thing. But let's see who's here first. Let's check everyone out tonight. I hope this mic's on. Yeah, it is. That's good. All right. So let's see who's here tonight. Kenny was here early. That's good. Good to have Kenny. Thank you so much for the news, Kenny. Every day, without fail. Quite a record for you. And if he's not going to post the news, he tells me he's got something going on. But I'm always grateful to Kenny for all the news stories that he provides. Goofy Dude looks like he signed up for a CryptoDad membership. That's very kind of you. $5 a month is priceless. That's funny. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned $5. It's not what it used to be, but I remember I was staying with my great grandmother back in was it the 90s? I think it was the 80s. Yeah. I was still in my 20s and had moved back to my hometown of Fort Wayne and was staying with my grandma, and somebody broke my headlight. Now, I don't know exactly what happened, but I came out to my car and the headlight was broken. And, I was like, oh, I don't know what happened to the headlight. And then I went and got it fixed for $5. So it must have been a long time ago, right? And she handed me $5, and I'm like, what's this for? She goes, well, it's for your headlight. It happened in my parking lot. And I was like, you don't have to do this, Grandma. Great Grandma, Grammy, I call her. And she says, well, $5 is $5, And that still rings true today, doesn't it? $5 is $5. Gregory Wieland is here. Merry Christmas. Roland is here. Good to have Roland as usual. Always good to have you here, Roland. Poston from Colorado. Got to get that long O down. Poston from Colorado. Bobby Raves. Wayne Tyler. Looks good. AK Ram Tech is here. It's very kind of you to say that it's a good day when I'm live. PC Posteri. Wayne Tyler. Dan the Man Westra is here. Thank you for being here tonight, Dan. Talked with Dan on the phone yesterday. Bobby, thanks for wishing me Merry Christmas. Fred McIntyre is here. Good to have you here. HR by Catherine. Cat food is here. I think that's Emmanuel. You changed here. Amsterdam, Holland. Swifty216. Barbara Harris. Merry Christmas from Arkansas. Thank you. I grew up in Texas. Been through Arkansas a few times. We came from Houston to Fort Wayne, and Texarkana was always our milepost to know that we had finally gotten out of Texas. We went up 59, and then when we got to Texarkana, we're like, okay, we're out of Texas now. We usually would push to Memphis and spend the night in Memphis before we went up to Fort Wayne, Indiana. Sometimes my dad would drive straight through, like a 23-hour drive or 24 or 25-hour drive. It's just crazy. But yeah. And Charity Hope, good to have you. Good to have everybody here tonight. So where is and what is Frankenmuth? Let's see if I can. Oh, I don't even have this one open yet, do I? Oh, I got all kinds of stuff. Let's see. I was buying some Christmas gifts tonight. We ordered pizza yesterday. All right. So Frankenmuth is a small town here in Michigan, and it was originally a German town, and they're big on Christmas. They've got all kinds of festivities and lights, and it's little shops. It's a lot like Mackinac Island, but in a little small German town, and everything is like, Hoff this and Hoff that. It's all pretty cool, and lots of street lights and decorations. We're going to stay at the Bavarian Inn, which is kind of a cool place. We've never stayed there before. We've seen it, but this year I made sure I got reservations early. So pretty cool. We're going to go to Frankenmuth and have a good time. And we're going to go tomorrow night, and we'll be back. We'll come back on Tuesday. So we'll be home for Christmas. But yeah, it's a German Christmas list. Pretty cool place. I don't think those, we're going to go on the riverboat in the winter time. But yeah, so that's where we're going to be. So that's Frankenmuth. Let's see here. Let's go to... let's head over to our favorite crypto news site, Cointelegraph. And this looks like a good market story here. Bitcoin's apparent demand shrinks, signals new bear market. Oh, no, bad news during the holidays? Come on. I thought we were hoping for the Santa rally. But, for every analyst that says we're in a bear market or heading to a bear market, there's another analyst that says, we're in the upswing and we'll hit 100 grand by the end of the year. Who knows? Multiple factors, including ETF outflows, contracting demand, and price falling below key support levels, indicate the start of a BTC bear market. Bitcoin demand growth has slowed significantly since October 2025, signaling that Bitcoin has entered into another bear market cycle, according to analysts at crypto market analysis platform CryptoQuant. Investor demand for Bitcoin came in three waves during the current market cycle, with the first wave landing in January 2024. The first wave followed the launch of Bitcoin ETFs in the U.S. The second wave followed the results of the 2024 presidential election. And the third was a Bitcoin treasury company bubble, according to CryptoQuant. Bitcoin treasury company is a company that puts Bitcoin in their coffers as an asset, as opposed to cash and bonds, which most companies try to keep on hand. Companies have been shifting to holding Bitcoin as an asset. And of course, MicroStrategy was the template for that. The biggest so-called Bitcoin treasury company, now called Strategy, and they've dropped the micro. It's just Strategy now. But there are a lot of other companies that were sort of jumping into that and acquiring and holding Bitcoin as an asset on their books. And that was the big wave of, or the third wave of the Bitcoin bull market, according to CryptoQuant. And demand growth has fallen below trend since early October 2025. This indicates that the bulk of the cycle's incremental demand has already been realized, removing a key pillar of price support. So there we are. This is 2024. This is our jump up here in January of 2025. And then we've got this last jump at the mid-year of 2025. All right. Institutional demand has also contracted, with the total amount of Bitcoin held in ETFs declining by about 24,000 BTC in Q4 2025, a sharp contrast to the accumulation behavior seen in Q4 2024. Funding rates, the fees paid by perpetual futures traders to maintain their positions, have also declined to their lowest levels since December 2023, another signal that BTC has entered a bear market. The final reason given by the analysis for the bearish outlook was Bitcoin's price structure breaking down below the 365-day moving average, which is a critical and dynamic support level for any asset. Dan can tell you more about all this, but we've broken below that line. And now, see, at the end, they always give it a little, well, or not, right? That's what they always say at the end of these market analysis. Some analysts continue to forecast Bitcoin prices higher in 2026, driven by increased demand and lower interest rates. Falling interest rates are positive catalysts for crypto prices and other risk assets. However, overall, crypto market sentiment remains firmly in fear territory, according to CoinMarketCap's Crypto Fear and Greed Index. Only 22.1% of investors expect the FOMC to lower interest rates in its next January meeting, to the Chicago Mercantile Exchange Group's FedWatch tool. So, yeah, the chances of another rate decrease are pretty slim as of now. But if you remember, in early or mid-November, I think the odds of a federal rate decrease were also very low. And then all of a sudden the Fed had a change of heart and went ahead and lowered rates, just as everyone had been expecting the month before anyway. So you never know what's going to happen with the Fed rates. So that's the outlook. Let's see if there's any. U.S. President Donald Trump attempted to pressure Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell to lower interest rates in 2025 by threatening to fire Powell. Powell's term is set to expire in May of 2026. And there's a lot of talk about who will replace Powell, and hoping that it's going to be a Bitcoin-friendly Federal Reserve Chairman next year. I believe May is when the new one will take over, but the new person should be named. I don't know exactly when that happens, when they actually reveal who it's going to be, hopefully early next year. So we'll see how all that goes. Also, I had a story that I sent out. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I know I sent it out to Dan and friends. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh no, that's something else. That was before. Okay. When did I send that out? Maybe I just, you know what? I might have just texted it. But that's okay. It was basically a story about the AI bubble and the United Arab Emirates. Okay, let's see if I can get that. Let's see if I can find that news story. Probably not. Let's look here. Let's No. There it is. There it is. I don't know. This isn't the exact story that I shared, but there's been a lot of talk in the markets, and this is the broader economic markets in the U.S. of an AI bubble, and basically the reason why there are doubts creeping in is because there is so much that the AI companies have promised to deliver as far as data centers and new products and things like that. And they're not really bringing up enough revenue in order to fulfill these promises. And so people are calling it an AI bubble. And but the United Arab Emirates has sort of stepped in with a sovereign wealth fund for AI development. And so we've got some deep pockets backing the AI companies. And so the circular financial party will just go on, I guess, now that they've jumped in. But that was some good news that broke on Friday. We'll see how the broader markets take it on Monday. I mean, we're going to have a short trading week because of the Christmas holiday. Christmas falls on Thursday this next week, so the markets will be closed. But we'll see what happens on Monday when the so-called AI bubble gets lifted higher, right? Because of this funding from the United Arab Emirates, and we'll see what happens. That could be the good news that brings us into the Santa rally. And, of course, when the stock market is up, Bitcoin follows, not always, sometimes. Bitcoin used to be quite decoupled from regular financial markets. And then over the last few years, Bitcoin has been pretty closely tied to the broader markets' rises and falls. Although I have been hearing lately a lot of analysts saying that Bitcoin has now become decoupled from the American stock market. But if the stock market goes up this week, maybe that'll be good news for Bitcoin. We'll see. All right, so let me see how everyone's doing tonight. A few people may have come in after I started. 88,266 is our current price of Bitcoin. Yes. Let's go. What am I doing here? Where is that? Oh, I must have. Okay. Yeah, let's go back up to the top here. And if we could just get Bitcoin. Oh, there it is. Yeah, 88,300 according to Cointelegraph. We could also check out CoinDesk. CoinDesk tends to be a little more timely with their market news. Let's see. Quantum debate always going on. Okay. Now this is good. I always like to cover stories about self-custody. And this is a good one. I didn't even see this one earlier. The scammer sent a small dust amount to the victim's transaction history, causing the victim to copy the address and send $50 million to the scammer's address. $50 million in what, I wonder? Tether. A crypto user lost $50 million in U.S. Tether after falling for an address poisoning scam. What is that? And let me quickly show you. Let me move this over here real quick. I want to fix something here real quick. Oop-a-doo. Let me get that done. There we go. Yeah, this is quite an impromptu. Okay, so if we look at our Ethereum, I don't see too many dusting attacks in my Ethereum wallet for some reason. I see them quite a bit in my Solana wallet. Let's see if I can show you a few. Yeah, so what you see here is I'm getting these. Now, sometimes these happen. Let me move out of the way here a little bit. Sometimes these happen when you do swaps or withdrawals on exchanges. I don't know why, but you'll see some extra, or they may be address poisoning attacks. These two look very similar. You'll notice that the beginning of the address looks very similar, and then the end is slightly different. Whether or not this is a poisoning attack, let's just use it as our example. The reason that you get these small dusting amounts is that someone is trying to, is hoping that you will be, I'm not going to say stupid, I'm going to say careless, that you will be careless enough to reuse an old transaction and use that to send. So, for example, if you're sending to an exchange on a fairly regular basis, you might be tempted, instead of going over, launching your exchange, go over to deposit, and then getting the address from the exchange and using that address to make your transfer, you might be tempted to simply click on your previous transaction and say, okay, I sent 5 million to wherever yesterday, so I'm just going to grab the same address. So I'm not going to go through the steps of getting the address because it never changes. So I'm just going to grab it from my history and paste it in to my outgoing transaction. That's perfectly understandable, but it's much better when you're doing crypto transactions to always go through the motions of getting the complete address from the destination every single time. I know it takes a little extra work, but don't reuse transactions in your history, because that's what these address poisoning scams are. They could also be recon toward a eventual phishing scam. If they send a small dusting amount to your wallet, they can see the public activity of the wallet. And if their bots determine that the wallet that they dusted is got a pretty high amount, they might take the extra step to try and determine the end user's email or things like that so that they could target them for a phishing attack. But the most basic way an address poisoning scam works is sending a small dusting amount, which doesn't cost the scammer anything really. It's less than a penny in normal circumstances, in the hopes that they will accidentally send to their address. That is the scammer's address in your history. Now, another thing I'll point out is that I get questions from people about this quite often, and when they see these small amounts in their wallet, they freak out. Who did this? I don't know what this is. How do I get rid of this? Am I in danger? So the answer to the can I stop this is no. Crypto is on the blockchain. Addresses are public. Scammers, just like people can send you junk mail, you cannot stop it. Also, you can't delete transactions in your history. You could delete small scam tokens, but that's a different thing. This is a little different. You cannot delete transactions in your history because they're on the blockchain also. Are you in danger? No, you are not in danger. There is nothing the scammer can do by sending you a dusting transaction that will allow them access to your wallet. It all relies on you. You are in danger if you're careless enough to reuse old transactions and mistakenly grabbing a dusting deposit thinking it was one of yours and using the address in an outgoing transaction. That's what you want. Have you ever run, I'm looking at a couple of, my video about AI fake people was alarming. Yes, it was alarming. I was completely fooled. I didn't cover that. I usually do. If you've never been in the stream before, I have a whole bunch of information about what we're going to talk about. I've got some affiliate links, and I have some of my previous videos. This one did pretty well. How to fund your Ledger Live using the Noah service. Basically, once you've connected and set up your Noah connection, you can simply make an ACH transfer from your bank app to that address or that recipient, and it goes right into stablecoin in Ledger Live with pretty low fees, I should add. So I did a walkthrough of how you get that set up, and then as Emmanuel was mentioning, I talked about AI, basically mostly in YouTube Shorts, but it's all over the place. I guess you could have AI videos in Instagram and Facebook and everything else, and they're really clogging up the airwaves, so to speak, and they really look real. And if you're not paying attention, you could be fooled by them. I was talking about a video of Mr. Rogers interviewing Jimi Hendrix, and when I saw it, I thought, oh, that was nice of Jimi Hendrix to come on there and talk to Mr. Rogers, because I used to watch Mr. Rogers when I was a kid, and he had celebrities come in, and I remember he had the witch from the Wizard of Oz, the lady that played the witch from the Wizard of Oz, come in and talk to the kids about not getting scared of stuff in movies. So I knew that Mr. Rogers had celebrities, but I was like, gee, I didn't know Jimi Hendrix ever came on. Well, he didn't. It was AI, so it fooled me. Yeah, so let's get back to this real quick. And I'm just going to go through this completely for you guys. That'll give us something to do. Someone is asking me, have you ever run any DeFi liquidity pools? I've been experimenting with a few lately, just wondering how profitable they are long term. I don't usually do finance and stuff like that. I've never run one on my own. I don't know that that's a thing. I guess you could run one on your own. That would require significant resources, computing resources, internet resources. You'd have to be on 24/7 tech support resources. You'd have to have other people being attracted to your site, so it would have liquidity. I don't know that you can. I guess you could, but if you're just talking about using DeFi, like a site like Uniswap or 1inch, and you're just talking about being in liquidity pools or swapping, staking, that sort of thing. You can stake your crypto in many formats. You don't necessarily have to do DeFi to do that. I know you can enter liquidity pools in DeFi. First of all, it can be pretty complicated to do, and there's no guarantee of making a return on your investment, because when you're in a liquidity pool, you're earning the coin that's in the pool, and the coin in the pool, the price of that coin may drop while you're staking or participating in the liquidity pool. So there's a lot of pitfalls in trying to make money in DeFi. But in answer to what I see your question is, I've never run one on my own, and I've never tried to. And even if I were using someone else's, I've been burned in the past. I tend to just buy and hold these days, personally speaking. But let's go through that scenario. Let's say that I decided I wanted to move some Solana over to Kraken. Let's do Coinbase. So I would go to Coinbase and I would say, okay, I want to receive some crypto and I want to send some Solana, and I want to send it on the Solana network, and Coinbase will give me a little warning, and then they'll give me an address to send my Solana to, right? So if I go over to my Ledger Live and I say I want to do a send, I paste in that Solana address that I got from the exchange. That's the best way to do a transfer. Go to your destination, confirm your destination, get the address, bring it in and use it to make your transaction. The lazy way would be, oh, okay, well, I transferred some Sol over to Kraken yesterday. And let's take a look at that one again. What was that? Whoops, what happened there? That's no. Oh, we were in Coinbase, no wonder. I was like, what? Okay, so it ends in MZFOL. Let's see here. These are received. Okay. Trying to see when the last time I sent to... Is this going to go down anymore or not? Is it just me? Let's go up here. Okay. I see you got to do show more. I'm trying to see if there's one outgoing. I don't know. Let's go back up here. MCFOL. Maybe I haven't sent there lately. But let's just assume that there was a send to that address that we talked about that ends in ZFOL. But instead of logging into my Kraken and going to deposit and getting the address, I just said, hey, you know what? Here's that last send. So I'll just grab this. Or I might actually accidentally grab this one, which is a dusting attack, like this. And then say, oh, okay, I'm just going to grab this to field or from field or whatever I've done. I guess in order to get to the attacker's wallet, it would have to be the from, I would assume. Or they send, well, the to would be me, right? Yeah. So you really have to be kind of whacked out to do this. I don't know how I mean, I'm so used to doing it, you know, the correct way that I just can't imagine going this. And then just grabbing the address and then doing the send. And instead of sending to your exchange, you send to this shady address, right? I can also show you how it works in TANGEM too. So I do send quite a bit of, I'll get stablecoin in my TANGEM wallet and then I'll send it to Kraken. So let's do Kraken here. Let's do deposit. Let's do tether. There. Whoops. Yeah. And let's do it on the Tron network. I do this all the time. And I do this on a fairly regular basis because I get coins coming into that wallet. And then I copy it. And actually what I'll do is when I go into TANGEM, I'm going to scan it. Let's see here. Yeah. So if I wanted to send this tether to my Kraken account, I would, let's say I want to send, how much is in here? Let's just say we want to send 20. I could scan the address using my TANGEM app like that, right? That's the best way to do it. Or I could be lazy and say, oh, you know what? I just sent some there yesterday and I can see the address is the same. So I'm just going to reuse the same address I used yesterday. And most of the time, this would work, right? But if you've got address poisoning, if someone has been sending you dusting attacks, you might accidentally click the dusting attack transaction thinking it's the one you normally send to, because they're going to try to make their address very close to yours. So it might look very similar to the address you usually use. And I can't imagine sending $50 million in Tether carelessly. I mean, you'd think you'd want a committee to come and look over your shoulder and make sure you were doing everything correctly instead of just sitting there, you know, all alone in front of your computer and carelessly grabbing a previous address from your transaction history. That seems pretty careless to me. That's the word. That's just the word I'm going to use. Reckless and careless. With that kind of transaction, you would want to double and triple check everything. And I think that's one of the things that I try to stress on my channel the most is being very calm, cool, collected, and mindful when you're doing crypto transfers. You do not want to be stressed out and agitated when you're trying to do a crypto transfer, especially a large one, or sleepy, or drunk, or high, or anything like that. You want to be at your peak of consciousness when you're doing crypto transfers, and you want to have a routine that you go through and that you're comfortable with, rather than, oh, it's been 3 weeks and I'm just sitting down, I got to move this money, and I'm just going to get it done, and I got other things to do today, all that kind of stuff. You need to be present when you're doing crypto transactions, and you need to, be careful what you're doing. If you're doing a transfer from point A to point B, from your wallet to an exchange, or from an exchange to your wallet, and it's one of the first times you've ever done such a thing, always do a small test just to confirm that the wallet address is correct or that the exchange address is correct. Because if you make a mistake, then you've only lost like $5 or $10 worth of crypto in your test transaction. And once you've done that, then you can do the larger transfer. I just helped a guy the other day that needed some help with his wallets, and he had some crypto on a Ledger Nano X, and he had already set up his new device with a new seed phrase and had quite a bit of crypto in there. So normally I would say, let's just migrate the old seed phrase onto the new device. But he had already gotten past that and had already funded the new device. And so the most straightforward thing that we could do to consolidate would be to simply move the crypto from the old accounts from the Ledger Nano X to the new accounts on the Ledger Flex. And he had 20 grand worth of Bitcoin. So instead of saying, hey, let's move 20 grand of Bitcoin from, one wallet to another, I said, let's, go through the steps of doing the transfer. We'll start with a small one. We did like $100 worth of Bitcoin. We made sure that it arrived. And then we did $5,000 worth of Bitcoin, made sure that it arrived. And then we went ahead and did the rest of it. That's the careful way to make, a large transfer, rather than just sitting down and grabbing an address from your transaction history and just, rolling the dice and hoping that everything's going to be fine. That's really the way you should do transfers. So let's see, we go back to that. Yeah, we were talking about this story, right? The scammer sent a small dust amount to the victim's transaction history, causing the victim to copy the address and send $50 million worth of USD to the scammer's address. The victim has published an on-chain message demanding the return of 98% of the stolen funds within 48 hours, offering a $1 million white hat bounty and threatening legal escalation and criminal charges if the funds are not returned. It's great to be all, outraged and, threatening retaliation and whatnot, but you sent it. Yeah, you did it. It's like you handed the thief your car keys. And I remember there was a Seinfeld where he gave his car keys to somebody and they took off with his car. He called the cops and they were like, well, it'd be too hard to prove theft in court because you handed him the keys. So I don't know, if this guy's going to get anywhere with that attitude. And there are no white hat hacks to take back a crypto transaction. You possibly can identify the wallet of the scammer where the 50 million went, but I am sure that 50 million has since been moved to and split up among many wallets. It's very unlikely that it's going to be just sitting on an exchange somewhere. But let's go through here. Okay, we got this. The theft spotted by Web3 Security occurred after the user sent a $50 test transaction to confirm the destination before transferring the rest of the funds. So I'm just wondering how that happened. If you managed to send a $50 test transaction, then you should have gone back to the exchange again and gotten the address again in order to send. I don't know, if the $50 transaction ended up where you expected it to go, it should have still been in your clipboard. I don't know how he could have possibly gone back and grabbed a different address. Yeah. Do not use your transaction history to get your sending addresses. That's the bottom line here. How to lose 50 million in under an hour. This is one of the largest on-chain scam losses we've seen recently. The funds had arrived less than 1 hour earlier. So things were moving back and forth. The user first sent a small test transaction. Within minutes, a scammer created an address that closely resembled a destination, matching the first and last characters, knowing most wallets abbreviate addresses and show only prefixes and suffixes. The scammer then sent the victim a tiny dust amount to poison their transaction history, seemingly believing the destination address was legitimate and properly entered. The victim copied the address from their transaction history. Boom. That's the mistake right there. And ended up sending it to the scammer's address. Kitty's here. Come here, Kitty. Let's say hello to everybody. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Your heart is beating. Your heart is beating. He's been outside for a long time. Yeah, he's been outside. The snow has been melting off all day. He was staying inside last week because it was really cold. But it's warmed up, so to speak, this week. Yeah, so here we are. These small dust transactions are often sent to addresses with large holdings, poisoning transaction histories in an attempt to catch users in a copy-paste error such as this one. Bots conducting these transactions cast a wide net, hoping for success, which they achieved in this case. Blockchain data shows the stolen funds were then swapped for Ether and moved across multiple wallets. As I mentioned, pretty likely. Several addresses involved have since interacted with Tornado Cash, a sanctioned crypto mixer, in a bid to obfuscate the transaction trail. In response, the victim published an on-chain message demanding the return. Failure to comply will trigger legal escalation. This is your final opportunity to resolve this matter peacefully, the victim wrote in the message. If you fail to comply, we will escalate the matter through legal international law enforcement channels. Address poisoning exploits no vulnerabilities in code or cryptography, but instead takes advantage of user habits. There it is. Namely, the reliance on partial address matching and copy pasting from transaction history. Well, there you have it. Don't do it. Do it the right way. Let's see here. Someone's got a question. Ooh, Wally. This cat seems... The cat won't leave me alone. He hasn't had his dinner yet. Well, kitty, is it possible to create your own seed phrase from the 2048 word list? I tried creating my own seed phrase, but when I input it into my Trezor, it gave me the message improper word phrase. It is possible to create a 24-word combination using only the words from the 2048 word BIP39 word list. Yes, you can do that. Will it be a valid seed phrase? Maybe not. Most likely not. Seed phrases have to be valid. There's a checksum when generated properly. So when you try to use them, they will work. Trying to create your own is a really bad idea There are ways to do this that are much more robust. If you want to roll your own, there are ways of doing that. It's really overkill. Some people feel like more comfortable doing that. They seem to have this inherent mistrust of hardware wallets doing it for them. But here's the deal. A hardware wallet are made specifically for doing this. They are a specialized device that only does one thing. Well, it does more than one thing, but the main thing is that it generates a secure private key randomly, and it protects that key inside your device. I know I can talk over and over again until I'm blue in the mouth, and you still won't feel comfortable doing it because you want to do it on your own. So you just have to roll your own. But just guessing or just picking the words out of the list is a really bad way of generating a random private key, because human beings are awful at being random. So let's see what we get here. You can roll your own seed phrase. One involves rolling dice to generate the necessary randomness. For a 24-word BIP39, you need 256 bits of entropy. Can be achieved by rolling a 6-sided die 99 times and recording each result. The sequence of dice rolls can then be converted into a seed phrase using an offline tool or algorithm. Another method is to use a physical random selection process, such as writing all 2048 BIP words on slips of paper, placing them in a container, and randomly drawing 24 words. This method ensures the selection is not influenced by human bias, but this doesn't guarantee you're going to have a valid seed phrase, because there is a checksum. Another way of generating a random seed phrase is the BIP39 website. And you wouldn't want to do this online. There is a way to do this offline. They show you how to do that down here. You can go to the GitHub page of this software and download it locally to your computer, and then disconnect from the internet before you generate the seed phrase. But this is what the software would look like. You just hit 24 and hit generate. But obviously, if you're trying to roll your own, you don't trust anything or anybody. So, but I would at least trust the guidance of people explaining exactly how this works. When you do it this way, at least you generate a valid seed phrase. Because, like I said, there's a checksum. The last word is or last couple words, or the last word is a checksum. That means it verifies the integrity of the seed phrase. So it can't just be willy-nilly random. So I would use dice to do it. But, they make things called hardware wallets like Ledger and Trezor. Been around for years. Never been hacked and made specifically for this purpose. So you don't have to do a DIY. So, yeah. But nothing I can say is going to change your mind. I've encountered your ilk before. And but that was a great question. It was a good thing for us to talk about. Yeah. Who is that? I know I see your handle there, and I'm sure you've been in here before, but I don't recognize your name from that crazy handle. And thanks for the donation, by the way, Emmanuel, Crypto Genius, and Wooolly 2494. I know it's somebody that comes in here quite often. Yeah, but yeah, you. Even the dice method, I don't know how it would ensure that it's going to be a valid seed phrase. Has to be internally valid, right? Because of the checksum at the ends. Yeah. But I'm sure there are ways to do that. Let's see. They've got this little thing here. Yeah, I don't know about this. How to generate a seed phrase. Yeah. Yeah. They don't say anything about validity here. I don't know why. Entropy. But yeah. I don't know how you could ensure that it's going to be a valid seed phrase. What goes on behind the scene? Generate seed phrase with well, of course they tell you how to do it with a hardware wallet, which is probably better. Yeah. Oh, there's also, you could do it with a Raspberry Pi. Yeah, that's true. There's a little thing here that I got from Elapol a few years back that is pretty cool. Let me see if I can. Let me go over here real quick. But the argument here that I guess I'm trying to communicate here, which I know you don't really want to hear it, was very eloquently put out there by Andreas Antonopoulos. And he has a great little, I guess you call it an intellectual rant about the fact that, someone that wants to, let me see if I can, I think it did it here. Let me take it over here real quick. Let me see if I can find this. Where is my history? Oh, okay, here it is. Okay. Yeah, let me see. Andreas Antonopoulos. Well, actually, I wanted it in my... Doggone it. Oh, I know what I did. I didn't search my history. I searched YouTube. Ah, yeah. Okay, this is the one.
Hi, Andreas.
Okay. I can't really play the video or I'll get a copyright hit on my channel and YouTube will get mad. But this is the video where someone asks him the question, hey, how can are hardware wallets secure enough? Shouldn't I just generate my own seed phrase? And he goes on this great screed about how they make a thing that does exactly what you want to do already in a box, so you don't have to go through it. And then he talks about people that, they use Tails and they use a Raspberry Pi, or they use, and send it to their printer, and all of the components that they're using to generate this seed phrase are general purpose devices. And they're using these general purpose devices that could have their own security leaks to do something that they could just go buy a specialized device that does exactly what they, are trying to do, that's been specifically designed to do that by professionals. It's sort of like, I could build my own bike or I could go buy a bike. That's not a perfect analogy, but it's pretty close. Why would you want to build your own bike when you could just go to a store and buy a nice one that's built, to be a great bike, rather than going out and buying pipes and rubber and creating your own thing. It's akin to reinventing the wheel. Let's put it that way. No, your seed phrase was rejected because it wasn't valid. Okay, that had nothing to do with the entropy. The validity is there's a special way that when you generate a private key, it generates a seed phrase from that, and there is a validity test on that seed phrase. It's an internal verification process. And so to make sure you've entered it properly. So if you screw it up, it's going to be it's not going to work right. So that last word or the last few words reference the previous words. That last word or the last few words are an internal validity check of the phrase itself. So just grabbing a bunch of random words, even if they're on the list, is not going to ensure that it's valid. And I can't find any information here about how you would make a randomly generated seed phrase valid. But anyway, this is a great video. You should check it out. And I'm just going to paste it down there in the... Where are we here? Please watch that video. He is so much more eloquent than I when it comes to that sort of stuff. I use his arguments a lot on my channel in my comments when people ask me stuff. And this whole thing about, oh, I don't trust hardware wallets to generate a random seed phrase for me. I don't trust them. He kind of addresses all of the idiosyncrasies of that argument. Yeah. So anyway, check it out. I love Andreas Antonopoulos. He wrote the book on Bitcoin. He wrote Mastering Bitcoin, was like the quintessential Bitcoin book, and Mastering Ethereum. Yeah. He's probably got one out on Solana now too. Okay, so we're getting up to the wire here. Please watch this video. It's great. It's awesome. Rashorkin7573, I was wondering if you could please do a step-by-step tutorial on how to restore an old wallet on the Trezor 7. I've done some restores, and I did it. Let me find it for you here. Let's go back here. Thank God I've been doing this 7 years. And almost every question I've covered. Whoops. Well, it's not going to find that, is it? Let's try restore. Let's try that. Okay, there's only 24 of them. That's a multi-share restore. Okay, so here it is. How to restore from a backup phrase on Trezor Safe 5. Full tutorial. Actually, that's a 20 word. I'm not sure what you're working with. Let me see. I've got an older one. There it is. The use case you're talking about is, I'm assuming you have a seed phrase for your previous Trezor. You say old wallet. I'm assuming you're talking about an earlier model of a Trezor. You have that 24-word phrase. So use this video right here. I'll paste it in the stream chat. It goes step by step. And what am I using in this video here? Let me check. I'll turn the sound off.
Hey guys, CryptoDad here again.
I think I am using a... What am I using there? I'm using a Trezor T in that video. But it's the same process with the Trezor 7. Same thing. You go through Trezor Suite and you tell... Well, where are we here? Okay, get with the firmware. I think that's it. There it is. Right. You're always going to get to this page right here. When you connect your brand new Trezor 7, you're going to get to this point and it's going to ask you to create a new wallet or restore an old wallet. You've got your 24-word seed phrase in your hand. So you just click recover wallet and then you enter the words onto your Trezor Safe 7. This video will take you through the generalized steps of how you do this. Pretty straightforward. Yeah, that would be the way to go. Check that video out. And also, you might want to also check out this video. I don't know if you're planning on doing this with your phone. You could do it with your phone, but you might want to check out this one. This is the full Trezor 7 setup video with the latest version of Trezor Suite. So it will show you the exact steps to take with a Trezor Safe 7. But when you get to the point where it asks, set up as new or restore, you, of course, would choose restore and then follow the instructions from there. That'd be a way to do it. A Welsh couple have beaten 24 million odds to win a lottery prize. Yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. Okay, guys, I was winging it tonight, but we did cover some pretty interesting topics. Several people made some very generous donations to me. I still don't see. Let me see if I can. Where were we? Were we over here? I'm going to paste this into the chat window. This looks like a pretty comprehensive coverage of rolling your own seed phrase. So perhaps you want to check that out. Yeah, that link will take you right to here where it explains how to do this. Of course, one of the options will be using a hardware wallet to do it. But I think they've got one with dice. Yeah, and then there's a link here to do the dice thing. Okay, here it is, number 4. How to generate the last word checksum. There it is, right there. That would be the one on using the dice method. It talks about generating the last words checksum. That would be the most specific one to that use case where you want to roll your own with dice. You can get a 20-sided dice anywhere, or whatever dice they were talking about. I guess you could use 6-sided dice, but you could go to a gaming store or on Amazon and get the right dice for, the right sided dice, like a D&D dice. When we were kids, we used to play Dungeons and Dragons with 20-sided dice. I think the 20-sided dice was for rolling damage, right? It's fun days. No, I apologize. I think the 20-sided dice, it was used for a lot of stuff, but it was a lot of times it was used as chance encounter, percentage of chance encounters, like the DM would roll the dice and go, oh, you just encountered a monster, or something like that. Before we go, I did want to kind of show you this thing. I talked about it briefly, but I didn't really get to it. Actually, let's do it this way. Not there. Come on, Rex. Yeah, so this is an Elipal. I don't even know if they make these things anymore. I forget what they call this thing. But it has a... is it on? Oh, my God. It's probably... Oh, my gosh. It fired up. What do you know? So you can press OK to generate. And then you can choose the number of words that you want to generate. In this case, 24. Right? And then there's a button here for OK. You hit that. And then it generates a random seed phrase for you with entropy and with checksum at the last word. And I like this thing. It's really cool. Let's see here. It's Elipal. I don't know if they still make them or not. I was like, they told me about it. I was like, yeah, send me one. I think it's cool. I think they call it the Elipal Joy. Yeah, there it is. Boop-a-doo. Elipal Joy. In fact, I didn't go over the specials. Ledger's still running holiday specials. Trezor, I don't know what they're doing for the Trezor Safe 7. They may still be giving away the free charger. They're doing 30% off on their previous models, TANGEM is doing the buy one, get the second for 50% off. You can get 10% off with my code. All the links are in the description below this video. If you like the Descent biometric wallet, they're running specials through the holidays, so you might want to check out Descent. In fact, I believe Descent is also running a year-end gala here, and they're a chance to win airdrops. So, and then each of these events has a running time. Like you've got the first event, and they've got all my discounts here, and they give you the steps to getting the airdrop, and then they have another event going through December 17th through January 20th, where you can sign up for these weekly airdrops. I think you have to make the purchase to do that. So yeah, I think it's 2 different rounds. So very popular wallet over in Asia. I've done a lot of setup videos on the Descent biometric wallets. Very popular wallet. Great people over there. They're from Korea. I think I've mentioned before that I lived in Korea for about 3 years teaching English. So that's not where I met them. I met them, through my channel. But you might want to check out the Descent wallet. I've got a link in the description for Descent, and check out their year-end gala. Yeah. So it might be fun. So let's see. Let's go over here and let's finish this off tonight. I want to wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. I don't know if I missed Kwanzaa yet, but it's a great time. I love the holidays. Be with your friends and family, and just enjoy yourselves this time of year. And I will be back again next Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join me again for the live stream from Michigan, where you can throw out questions, and I'll do my best to get them answered. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it. When you subscribe, there's a little bell that you can click that will allow you to be alerted whenever I post new content. Once again, thanks for joining me, and hope to see you again soon. Good night, everybody. Oh, and thank you, everyone, for donations tonight. Thank you, everyone that asked questions tonight. Thank you, Goofy Dude, for signing up. Thank you, Dan, for moderating. Thank you, Kenny, for the news. And thanks to everyone that was just